What's his name?
Lucas.
Lucas? Thanks.
This is Susan Bassi, and for those of you who follow this YouTube channel, you know that I record police, and I also do some writing in the Davis Vanguard, because we do investigative reporting about the courts, about what you see and what you can't, because in California they don't allow cameras in courtrooms.
Sure, I'm gonna stay right here on this grassy knoll. How's that?
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Anybody in the
Dog out.
I know my dog's in the car. Leave her. I know. I saw that. That's actually why I got out.
Okay, thank you.
This is a video that I made back in 2022 of the Campbell police. They were searching a car, and there was quite a commotion, so I pulled over to see what they were doing. They allowed me to record them doing their job and conducting their investigation. Ultimately, they recovered a handgun. And we're currently investigating another case where we weren't allowed to record, and where only their body cams captured how they did the investigation. The investigation involves a court therapist by the name of Marcia Clark.
Are you Marcia Clark? Yes. Thank you.
Marcia Clark is one of those therapists used in family court, where after the court process separates parents and children, she claims she's going to put them back together again and restore their relationships. She charges thousands of dollars to do this and rarely has any positive results, as we recently reported in the Davis Vanguard. About the same time I took this video, Marcia Clark was telling the Campbell police that one of the patients she had been seeing, a father, had come to her office with a gun and threatened her life and the life of a teenager who was in session with her at the time. And so we started following that case, because the father has been incarcerated for nearly 2 years waiting for his trial, waiting to tell a jury what happened to him in family court and what led him to bring a gun to the therapist's office. And when we went to follow the case, the judges moved the courtroom several times in a single day, and they blocked remote public access, effectively denying the public the right to hear what the police officers had to say. Because in California, there is a law that was passed that says police officers, during a preliminary trial in a felony case, have a right to give hearsay testimony. That law is intended to reduce the trauma on victims having to come repeatedly to court, meaning Marcia Clark didn't have to testify, the police officers did it for her. And we obtained the transcripts from that proceeding, since the reporters missed the first part of the police officer testimony. And when we did, we found a number of irregularities and misstatements that the police officers had made because they had relied on Clark and not independently investigated her or her statements related to the family court case. And when police officers are allowed to give hearsay testimony, it means that it can influence a judge to hold a case over for criminal trial. And so now the matter's going to proceed to the criminal courts and a jury.
Are you old enough to know what a grassy knoll means?
Oh, yes, I am.
While we record police officers to give the public information about how police officers do their job, we don't have the same ability in our courts. And our article was not just about the criminal case involving the therapist, but it was also related to transparency in the courts in California and in Nevada.
So my belief is that one of the first steps to accessing our justice system, whether it's in the criminal, civil, or family, is information and having knowledge and understanding the system.
And understanding the system only happens with information and education. And that is why we have body cams on police officers, to get information about the police. But the same applies to our courts. We have to be able to watch the therapists who work in the courts, the attorneys who work there, and we also have to be able to watch the judges. And when judges move courtrooms around and hide proceedings, it gives the public a lack of trust in the system. And so we've written about that, and we've written about the difference between the openness of the court proceedings in California and in Nevada.
What's his name?
Lucas.
Lucas? Thanks.
In addition to writing about the incident in California where the criminal case moved around from courtroom to courtroom, we talked about the issues of transparency in public proceedings in California versus Nevada, because a YouTuber by the name of Our Nevada Judges recently took a challenge to the Nevada Supreme Court about a local rule that provided for, in family court cases, one party to object to the court proceeding being public. And the Nevada Supreme Court came back last week and said that the public right to know and attend public court proceedings is absolute. And so a YouTuber fought for public access in a way that mainstream media used to do when we saw the New York Times and NBC News go and fight similar lawsuits to assure that the public had a right to oversee these public proceedings.
State of Nevada versus Kim Dennis Blandino, 22 CR 041030. This is time set for the trial on this.
Unlike Nevada, California not only doesn't allow cameras in courtrooms without a media request being granted, but they also don't allow recording of remote proceedings that are being broadcast into the public domain. And we will continue to fight for cameras in the courtrooms, on the street, and also in lawsuits.
Poor Lucas, working on a Sunday. Does he get overtime treats for that?
Hey.
I think we need to audit that. I'm gonna do a public records request for Lucas's treats. I want to make sure he's getting his proper pay.
Lucas is well taken care of.
Does Lucas live with somebody at night?
Yep.
He's assigned to somebody?
Yep. To his hand. He was doing some detection.
I saw that.
And how police officers behave on the street on camera is a good indication to how they might behave in court when they're testifying about what somebody has told them or that they have seen.
My name's Susan Bassi. What's your name?
Sergeant Heitzman.
I'm sorry?
Sergeant Heitzman.
And what's your badge number?
84.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. Have a good day.
You too.